Hey guys, my name is Bobby Henderson. Thank you so much for checking out the Launch Your Real Life podcast. This is a podcast that is for anyone who is trying to go from dependence on their parents and family to independence and being out on their own. And it seems like everyone has an opinion about how our generation lives their lives. And I'm talking millennials and Gen Z. You're either a fool for spending a ton of money on college or you're doomed if you don't go, right? You should never finance a car, or what even are you driving, right? You got to work hard and keep your nose to the grindstone, or hey man, you just need to sell your house and buy three more and become a real estate baron, right? The advice and the opinions are all over the place. So I want to help break it down into what is important to you. How can personal finance and your faith and your purpose in life go hand in hand and help each other, right? So we're going to have honest conversations about this transition from dependence to independence. And so in that vein, I wanted to dive a little deeper into something I kind of did a brief overview of in a previous episode, something that I call the phases of independence. At least that's what I'm calling them for now. Who knows? But in this episode, we're going to go a little bit deeper into phase one. So, what is phase one? Well, this is the phase for the you are in this phase if you currently do not have a job and you are 100% dependent on your parents or family or guardians, whatever the case may be. So you are completely dependent and you don't have any regular earned income. Okay. If that is you, then you are in phase one. And if you know somebody who is in phase one, so this could be, a teenager who hasn't got his first job yet, but is still in high school, all the way to somebody who maybe is going through college but has never left home and has never had to get a job for whatever reason, right? So if this is you, that's cool. If not, you probably know somebody in this phase, and you can shoot them this episode. So really, this person has two main objectives. The way that I see it, right? So, objective one is to learn as much about personal finances as you can. So, this one may seem obvious, but I mean, if you're listening to a pretty financial podcast, right, you're probably already thinking in these terms. But one thing that I feel like a lot of people struggle with is like, hey, if I don't have any money actually coming into my hands, then I really don't see how I can apply this stuff, right, that you want to teach me. I've heard that from people, from students or young people who I try to talk to about personal finance, right? It's kind of like, well, I don't have any money, so I can't apply this stuff. Well, that's true, but you have to learn the basics of how a car works before you get behind the wheel, right? When you get your permit, you have to know that, hey, this pedal goes forward and this pedal is a brake, and how the turn signals work, right? So you have to have a little bit of knowledge of the mechanics. And what I have found is, in my own personal experience and just observing around me, what I found is that if you are learning about something, studying something, it becomes more real to you and you actually get more excited about it. So instead of the real world out there being some big scary place, right? That everybody is just telling you, hey, it's going to be terrible. The world is on fire. It can't be done, right? But if you actually go past that surface level junk, right, to the practical aspects of personal finance, then I think you will actually get excited about what is possible and what is possible, especially in the long term, right? Because right after you get your first job, you're probably not immediately supporting yourself entirely. You may not be saving a ton for retirement, but if you have those ideas early, then as the opportunities arise, you're going to take steps toward the right the right path, that you're going to look back and you'll be like, wow, I am so grateful because I've had such an impact with the generosity I've been able to do. I have this nest egg that I'm able to fall back on and retire with, and I still got to have fun along the way. Because that's the thing. When I say learn about personal finance, it's as much so that you can have fun with your life and enjoy your 20s and 30s as anything else. So I know it's broad, but step one, if you're in phase one, is going to be learning everything you can about personal finance. Listen to this podcast, watch the Money Guys on YouTube or listen to their podcast. There are Dave Ramsey got a couple of great podcasts on his network. There are people out there who are speaking good, sensible advice, not crazy advice. Don't listen to the guys that are talking about triple leveraging your house, right? Find voices that you trust, that you can believe in, and that are telling you that it is going to be a slow and steady but inevitable journey to wealth and financial impact on the world around you. And with that said, what's the second step? Well, this one, again, is pretty obvious. If you're in step one, to get to step two, you got to be looking for a job. And you might be young enough that, well, it's not really legal for you to get a job, right? You could have a side hustle probably. But anyways, or you could be at that point where your parents are looking at you saying, I think it's time you need to get a job. So wherever you are, I think that next step is finding anything that gives you earned income. And why is that important? Why am I not talking about just like your parents giving you money? Why does it need to be earned income? Well, because there is a sense of connection to what we do and the money we earn, right? So we start to build that connection, right? That what we do determines what we can bring in. And I think that's an important thing to start getting down deep in your psyche, in your gut, going forward. And then you truly have ownership of that money to start using it purposefully, right? So, and that's going to be in phase two, is going to be learning, implementing a simple budget and taking first steps towards generosity and purposeful action with your money. But right now, we're just talking about, hey, you're starting to look for a job if you are in a place where you can do that, right? And I mean, there's lots of good advice. There's lots of good advice out there about finding a job, and as I said, it can be anything that's earned income. So side hustles are awesome. I do think, it's just me, maybe I'm old school, I do think that there's something about those entry level fast food or restaurant type jobs that really build some grit and some character. But like I said, anything. I love entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. Wow, what a word. And I love seeing people do that for themselves. So I do love that. There's just something about those fast food jobs. There's something about bussing tables and dealing with people that can really develop some good skills. So, with that said, here are some action steps that you can take going forward. One, ask your parents or whoever, right? Ask an adult or somebody who is living independently about the household bills, right? And if I know that some households, money can be a touchy subject. So obviously don't talk to a parent who's going to go off, but you also don't have to ask how are you paying for all this stuff? You can just ask hey, what does an electric bill look like? How much are we paying in electricity? What's our phone bill? Right? Can I see that? Do you pay a car payment? What is that like? Again, if those questions can be received, right? But the goal is to get an idea of what living on your own costs. And of course, if your parents have a big house that they bought 20 years ago and you and so the bills are going to look different, right? Than you might in your first apartment with 3 roommates. but it's still good to get an idea of what some of those things look like, right? And even ask people in that stage of life, if you know that that's going to be you in a year or two, ask some of your friends who are already gone off to college, like, hey, how much is it costing you? How much does this stuff cost? So you start to get an idea, right? So that's action step 1, right? And then action step 2 is, if you're ready to look for a job, here's an idea, uh, a way to start, right? Of course, there's the obvious, looking online. There's going to restaurants and places and asking to put in a resume. I know that there's a big controversy now of like, man, nobody wants in-person resumes, and that may be true. Something interesting that you might try, just offhand, is find 5 people who are established in a career and just ask them questions. Ask them if you can take them to coffee, or I don't know, invite them, have your parents invite them over for dinner or whatever, if they're an adult, and just ask them about their job, ask them about what they do, and ask them about what entry level positions look like where they work and what qualifications they may need. Now, I'm not saying that this is definitely going to lead to opportunities, but once people know that you're out there looking, you'd be surprised what comes back to you. My first job I was gearing up to go around and drop off a bunch of resumes, right? And I've been talking about it. I got everything ready. And my dad, the night before I was going to do that, went to a restaurant, noticed that the manager was actually running around bussing tables. And then when they were leaving to pay for their food, the manager came over and was wiping his brow and was clearly tired. And my dad got to talking to him and said, "Hey, it looks like you're a little short-handed." And the guy's like, "Yeah, hard, whatever." And my dad said, "Well, I've got a boy who's looking for work." And he's like, "Well, send him over." And that's how I got my first job, right? And so talking to people, putting it out there that you are looking, can actually do more than you think. And if nothing else, you're still making a network. And I've heard it recently. I know this is a cliche thing. Maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't, but your network is your net worth. So having connections with people is never a bad thing, even if it doesn't necessarily lead to anything right now, right? You'll still get valuable information. You'll still have good conversations. And just maybe somebody will know something, or know of an opportunity, or be able to introduce you to the right person. Me, I'm always looking for ways to connect people to good work, right? And so remember, phase 1 is mainly about gathering information and preparing to start the journey. But I wanted to make it its own phase because I don't want people to underestimate the opportunity it is to learn, to be able to start digesting this information so that you are ready to apply it, right? Because I know that when I got my first job, it was amazing to get that paycheck and stuff, but I'm not going to say I was like totally irresponsible, but I wasn't thinking through all the things that paycheck could mean for me. I was just like, oh, I guess I'm going to get to hang out with my friends. And that's the other thing. I want you to be intentional, but you'll see that doing stuff with your own money, doing the fun stuff, is more fun when it's something that you have worked for, you've earned, and you are using responsibly. So, phase 1, if this is you, I hope that you'll stay tuned. I hope that you'll come back, because I'm going to try to provide as much personal finance education in this sphere as I can to get you ready for phase 2, and then phase 3 and 4 and 5, until you are ready to be out on your own. And then even then, beyond that, living a life of impact and purpose with your money, with your finances. So I hope that you will like this episode, or subscribe, or write a review, whatever that looks like, whether you're listening in just a podcast stream, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on YouTube. Whatever that looks like, I appreciate the engagement, and I hope that you will check out newstoryfinancial.com, which I did a reboot of and should be up hopefully by the time this comes out. And there you're basically going to see the two ways that I'm currently trying to help people, which is one, if you're an engaged or newlywed couple and you want to have somebody personally walk through some of the things, some of the basics that you're going to need to know to have success in your marriage. That's one of the things I do. I have a program to work with you specifically, you guys as a couple, right? And the other thing is I've just launched a school community. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with that, it's basically just a community, a place where people can post. I'll be starting to post instructional videos on there, some brief courses, and I've have some really exciting stuff I'm really excited about coming down the pipeline. For now, totally free. Just come in and hang out. And if you're one of the first on there, you can ask me questions. I'll basically be a one-on-one coach. So, um, yeah, take advantage of that. So that you can access through the website as well as probably the description below. So thank you guys for listening. I hope we'll see you guys next week and have a good one.